Welcome to Monologues by Hassie, where I'm going to be dropping unsolicited brain dumps from the depths of my grey matter. I'll talk about life, money, society, and self-development, plus whatever else lies up there, whilst hopefully not getting cancelled in the process. The value of your actions and achievements will be determined by their perceived difficulty. And this is going to be different for every single person. So I was at work recently and we had a rather tough client meeting where I was brought in. I was able to placate the client, and at the end of it, everyone was glad I was there. Now, one of the comments that was made was, well, Hassie, you've got male privilege. And that's fine. People can say that. And I realize that it does, to a certain degree, discount the effort that I've put into investing in my public speaking skills, into stakeholder management, my prior experiences in work, the effort I take to understand our product and our platform. And all of this was kind of summarized into 2 words: male privilege. That said, it really got me thinking that in this particular situation, the outcome I achieved was perceived by others to not be difficult. And truthfully speaking, in that moment, it wasn't difficult. I've encountered many tough client situations, so it wasn't really a big thing. And this then kind of cascaded into a whole series of thoughts, which got me really thinking about people who complain about society not valuing their achievements, things like perceived double standards, and I thought we'd do some mental experiments. So, if we look at the NBA and the women's NBA, in the NBA there's about 530 people, in the women's NBA there's about 150 players, and altogether, I'm going to round up, there's about 700 basketballers in the NBA and the WNBA. Now, the population of the United States is about 330 million people, and imagine out of 330 million people, at any one time, only 700 are going to be in this elite league of basketball players. So the achievement for any individual to enter that particular category, that is something that is going to be perceived as incredibly valuable. That achievement holds value because we perceive that particular goal to be difficult. And if we just look at probability, it is a very difficult goal. Now, let's say we take one of those NBA players and they go and sleep with 100 people in 3 months. For an average person, that's going to be quite a feat. But we always kind of hear this about NBA players. So that particular achievement wouldn't be valued as much as that person being in the NBA, because relative to their position, it's not uncommon or unheard of to hear about NBA players having these liaisons. Likewise, I happen to be I'm very fortunate to be an able-bodied person. If I walk into the gym and I decide that I'm having a pretty lazy day and I'm just going to walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes and get out, I'm not going to get any applause. But if somebody who had a disability that maybe affected the way they walked, or made it hard for them to enter the gym in the first place, made the effort of getting to the gym and doing that workout, the exact same thing I did, people are going to value that so much more. And the reason is the perceived difficulty, and in all actuality, the actual difficulty of the action that that person took was so phenomenal. Because when we allocate praise to people, when we allocate achievement and to the value of those achievements, we base it on an individual, their circumstances, and how difficult that achievement was to that person. So if you ever find yourself in a position where maybe you believe that something you've done should and is worthy of more praise, of more status, then you should be able to explain how difficult that was for your personal circumstance. But the counterpoint to that is, in trying to make your argument about how difficult an achievement was for you, if when you start to write that down, if it looks a bit silly, well, it probably was. And you need to find, and by need to, I mean, if you are seeking status from people, and I don't recommend that we seek status, I think you should be as intrinsically motivated as possible. But if you are seeking status, then you should do something which you know is going to be difficult for you. And that's going to be different for everyone. Which is to say, there's no big and small achievements, right? There's no one bar. It depends on the individual. So keep that in mind the next time that, well, you either complain about a double standard and maybe think that double standard through and see, was that particular outcome that you achieved, was it actually difficult for you? Maybe it genuinely was, in which case, by all means, be outraged. Actually, don't be outraged. It's not a great attitude. It's not a good look. But also have a think about, well, if you do want people to give you praise, if that is something you seek, it's part of your value system, you want to have status in society, then start doing things that are genuinely difficult for you. And with that said, I wish you great success with all your endeavors. You've just made it through another episode of Monologues by Hassie. It brings me great pleasure to know that you made it to the end. To listen to more episodes, subscribe on your favorite podcast app or visit monologuesbyhassie.com. Thanks for swinging by.